and welcome. This is the 50-50 ritual. What am I doing? I don't look like I'm training. Well, today's going to be a special episode of the 50-50 ritual. It is freezing. Okay, it's starting to warm up a little bit right about now, but it is freezing. Because I'm a nomad and I'm kind of at the mercy of the whims of the weather. We kind of got to fly by the seat of the pants here. I'm thinking I might have to start doing these a little later because the sun ain't coming up until a little later. So right now, wow, I don't think I can do better than that. Okay, I think I got all 5 bars. Wow, that's awesome. All right, let's. We're going without a guest. My my guest host, he's been traveling and whatnot, so he was going to show up today. However, it would be understandable if he didn't show up because it's probably crashing pretty hard after traveling, flying around and stuff. So it might just be you and me. Which is unfortunate because I really did want to talk about some of the misconceptions. I really want to do an episode. Oh God, I gotta do some clothing repair. I really want to do an episode, like a whole episode of Wing Chun misconceptions. I would say of all the practical martial arts there are in the world, Wing Chun has got to be one of the most misunderstood, and holds probably the most amount of the practical martial arts. So I guess we'd have to define that, wouldn't we? I really don't think I should move. Yeah, I really think I should just kind of stay here. I want to go into the sun, but I'm having a funny feeling I won't maintain my bars. You know what? Let's try it anyway. Now, as I'm driving here, I'll just give you a little bit of back history. I wouldn't say training. I would say I started fighting when I was pretty young. I don't know, maybe 6. My uncle came back from the Vietnam War, and he had trained in martial arts and wanted to show his nephew some stuff. And and I would get together with the other nephews from the other veterans, and we'd have like little matches, little challenges. This might work out. Hope you guys are still getting the signal. Is this boy? Oh boy! Yeah. Let me see. Let me ask you something. Do you just get on to streams and start interrogating whoever you are? I think you might have missed your calling. Should have been an interrogator. So, well, great. I'm glad some people are showing up. and I think we got some bars. We still got some bars. We don't got all 4. We got 3 bars. 3 bars is good enough, I think. Yeah, it's good enough. So let's see what's going on here. I'll put on my spectacles. Oh, there goes somebody decent. Arm, or the core six rocks. You guys have some pretty amazing. Uh, no, you didn't see me. Oh, you saw a guy doing Wing Chun with nunchucks. It was cool. Well, that kind of makes sense. The movement of Wing Chun lends itself really well to nunchucks, the bomb sao and the tom sao and stuff. So, yeah, blue green. I'm gonna give you a little chance here to be civil. This is a martial arts stream. It's in respect to martial arts and martial art training. Martial art influenced exercise. You don't necessarily have to be a martial artist to benefit from these streams. Of course, we're not doing the training, not just yet. I'm waiting for that sun. I'm gonna be honest. I'm waiting for the sun. It's just getting above freezing right now. Um, let me see. Is there anything I can interject? All right. So yes, not to answer the blue greens question there, but oh well, there you go. We'll answer it. Do you live in your car? Answer me this. First of all, if you look at any of my videos or if you look at my channel, it'll answer that question. Second of all, what's it to you? What is it to you? Why is it a question or a concern where I live? Yeah. However, yeah, that answer is easily attained if you want the answer to your most pertinent question, because that's really pertinent to martial arts now, isn't it? Yes. Whoa.
Whoa. Oh man, I got caught off guard with the daylight savings time. I forgot that was a thing.
Oh, it is a thing. You know what? Hold on here. It hasn't hit me yet because it's still 8:39 here.
Gosh, I
What
got
what time is it there?
9:39.
Wow. That's bizarre.
It's
So,
usually 10:39.
but what's freaky is how come it hasn't changed for me?
Don't know, man. It's as far as I know, uh, I don't think human beings have the jurisdiction to determine the time scale of the planet.
Like
You know,
when it's doing well, but that's all fiction anyway. I mean, it's somewhat horribly off. But
horribly.
anyway, uh,
Uh,
so it's freezing. It's just getting above freezing now, and I was freezing.
yeah, it's getting there, man. It was in the teens this morning out here, like 15 degrees. So the winter is upon us.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. How cold is it in where you're at now?
It was 15 this morning. It's climbing up to 35, I think. Yeah.
Oh man, and I was going to whine and bellyache and go, "Oh man, it's too cold. I can't go out there." I'm waiting for the sun right now, literally waiting for the sun. It's just at the tops of the trees. So poor blue green. Look at blue green. They want answers. They got questions. They want answers. Or he or she wants answers. I'll assume it's a she.
I'm just gonna assume that they're a color.
Blue, green, oh, blue, green, red. Blue, green, red.
Like,
Uh yeah. So it looks like you're in some sort of a uh bricks and sticks kind of a thing. What are you in a hotel?
yeah, I just flew back from Hawaii. Like, what was it? I just got back on Wednesday, and then yeah, I needed a place to stay before I moved into the new place today. So after training, I gotta ship on out and move all my stuff into the to the place that I was living last winter. And man,
Sweet. Now, are you more? Are you in an indoor-ish location, or are you still outdoors?
I'll be indoors for the winter. It's
Oh, I'm glad because 15 degrees, whatever, that ain't no joke, bro.
it's not. Yeah, and I've camped in car camped in -20 before out in Crested Butte, just because sometimes if you're out there and there's a winter storm and you don't want to drive back to Gunnison because it's really dangerous, you know.
Right.
So so yeah, I'll sleep in my car in -20 because that's less dangerous, right? You know.
Well, I mean, it's an experience, that's for sure.
It
I
is.
don't think that since I've been living as a nomad, I don't know that I've experienced that intensity. I think the most I got down to was like 9 degrees,
Oof.
which is still cold, but that's not negative any number.
Yeah, I heard. I don't know. Word has it that after it's minus so many degrees, it all just feels the same, but you just get colder, like really, like a lot quicker when you
Yeah,
try out.
I
Uh,
remember at the time because I knew that you know I knew it was going to be getting cold, so I parked by a casino. And what I would do is every few hours, when it just got too freaking cold, I'd go into the casino and warm up, yeah, for about a half hour, an hour or so, and then just go back into the vehicle because they're open 24 hours. So you can kind of go in there, warm up a little bit, and uh, you know, so
uh,
it probably saved my ass. Um, but yeah, this is going to be interesting trying to figure out. I'm thinking maybe starting these sessions a little later because there's no way I'm going to be able to effectively train. I mean, even if I could just get beyond the cold, which you could, big ball it and just train 8:30 in the freezing weather.
yeah, and, uh,
But
dance for about half an hour, and then you warm up. You know.
but I don't think the phone could do it. You
Right.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The
I.
phone, because it's also very wet and moist and cold. So so I'm really thinking I might have to do this yeah, do this a little later. I'm also considering maybe just doing this on Fridays for now.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might make some sort of sense. But all right, gee whiz, blue green, you're just not a very nice guest, are you? Um, oh well, you know, we try to give the uh, the benefit of the doubt to most folks there, but
Indeed.
you know how that works out.
Yeah.
But all right, the sun is almost out, so we'll be able to get rolling here.
Yeah. Oh, and on when Justin was showing us the videos, I actually couldn't view it. so I couldn't really chime in on his sequence.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I wasn't
Just,
quite sure if you were in the house anyway, so to speak.
I was in the house. I was reading, and yeah, it just kind of seemed like it was a thing for the both of you to solve. So seemed like it
Yeah,
got solved well. He's got his video up, unlisted.
he did get his videos up, and they are rather private or unlisted, and so we can kind of go the next level. I think what I might have him do is also send you a link to those. Again, if it's private, or I'm not quite sure how it works out. Private, it seems like every time I list things as private, I can't share them. And
Yeah,
my understanding of private was it would be private and you could send it to whoever and they would be able to see it as well. But I don't know if that's working out. It might be because I'm trying to use the videos also in a playlist. So there may be an issue with unlisted playlists and private videos. I don't know.
right.
Something worth exploring on this. Yeah. So with Justin's, I'll and if Justin's watching or if he sees this later, yeah, give Sifu Chad the links to your video. This is a really important aspect right here, and I'm kind of glad that we're there. And that is, I know that you have your Wing Chun forms and stuff down. I mean, I'm not definite. You might need to brush some dust off of, but the whole idea is you need to be able to just perform all the forms in sequence. 20-minute video, right?
Yeah,
So when you join the tier level, the Sifu tier level, then that's what you do. You make that 20-minute video most recent, and then we go from there. These videos have been so important and so underutilized, and I think I'm just gonna, at this point I'm gonna force the hand, because come on, if you need to pop your zits, you're not going to just like stare into the sky and pop your zits. No, you're going to look into a mirror and pop your zits. Okay. So I don't know why I made that connection, but you need to use the video. And I'm not talking to you. Of course, you do this. So understand, I'm not talking to Seafood Chat here. I'm talking to the rest of you guys. I'm talking to all of us, we need to use video in order to refine what it is that we do. And
yeah,
there's just no better tool on the planet. It's ever since video was invented, it's been used by performers, by martial artists, but it's one of the main things that has helped martial arts to get to where it is, to the level that it is. I
right.
mean, think UFC, that got televised, that got videoed. People can watch in slow motion everything. They can figure stuff out. And so
Yeah,
uh,
they study everybody. You know,
what's that?
they can study everybody's styles,
Yes,
slowing it down and seeing what their refinement is. Right.
that's right. And so one of the things that I just know, some people, they don't have enough narcissism in them, I guess. They're not narcissistic enough. And they just don't, they'll watch everybody else in slow motion and everything, but they just don't want to watch themselves, you know? And I understand. I understand. I don't understand a lot. I got enough narcissist in me that I don't mind watching myself. Even now at this ripe old age, I still don't mind so much, seeing my reflection. I mean, I'm not having as good a time of it as you are, but nonetheless. Um, so I think that we really need to utilize the video more. So here's the thing: we have two things that we're trying, or at least I have two things I'm trying to do with you and Justin, which are the most senior. And that is, I'm trying to get him to really nail down all the forms and and that's a challenge. That's a challenge to get a person to learn the forms and to commit to the forms.
Right.
Um, it's easy to get a person to stand around with a bunch of other people and do the forms. To commit to do the forms and learn the forms and do them yourself, that's a whole nother level. All right. So,
It's a whole nother level that I had almost forgotten that road, you know?
yes, yes. And so, two things I'm trying to do. One, I'm trying to get Justin, get him complete on his forms. And two, I'm trying to refine your teaching
Mm,
methods, right?
mm,
Over the years, you've shared with me some of your teaching and stuff, and it certainly is something that, well, for one, I'm glad that you shared that with me, and two, it's a thing that we absolutely should work together to
mm.
make better. Because when we make our teaching better, then we provide a better experience for those learning from us, you know.
I Yeah.
And now these videos have been so valuable for me. I have, not to mention all the private videos that I have posted. You know, I refer to that stuff. I even refer to students that are no longer students anymore, and break their stuff down, because some of you guys do really good stuff. You might even do it better than me, and I like to acknowledge that. You know, it's a shame they're not students anymore, because they get acknowledged. Hey, you did that really well. Uh, but we really need to take advantage of this YouTube thing we got here. We don't need to take advantage of it, monetize and subscriptions and shit like that. We need to take advantage. It just exists, and that we could easily just pick up the phone, stream, or pick up the phone, make a video, and post it so we can check it out. Also, because the streams aren't always something that we'll be able to do, for one reason or another, there's no reason why we can't keep the ball rolling by simply making a video. Make the video that you're going to do in the stream. You know, so I think this is important. I think we should focus on this more. um the streams are nice. The streams are more just for community. I'm not really trying to get a lot done with the streams, quite honestly, other than just create a community where we can get together and train, do what we know, do, maybe learn a little something new here and there, but it's mostly just for community. The pre-made videos, what we should be focusing on, is really going to be where people are going to be able to understand and learn and refer to those videos. The streams, man, nobody's got to pick through a half hour, 2 hour stream just to get the information that they need, you know. Um, so the information, now we have three levels of videos that we want to produce, that every student wants to produce. Your first level is your first level Sifu videos, where you just show that you can perform all the forms back to back, and the sequence has to be correct. It doesn't have to be perfect. The sequence has to be correct. The form doesn't have to be perfect. Just has to be in the ballpark. You know, um, getting everything center lined and everything is.
Nope, you're frozen. I don't know if it's my connection or nope. All right. Well, Sifu Z got a pure Sifu Z got disconnected. We'll see if we will be having him rejoin here. But as he was saying, the sequence of the forms are real important because once you have the sequence down, then you can start working on refining your details and your center line focus, your elbow positioning, um, the intensity that you bring, your isometric dynamic tension. Um, there's a lot of detail and refinement that goes into it after you have learned your sequence and got your sequence down. So definitely want to work on that. If you're joining us, or Justin, if you're watching, I'm sure you've heard this a lot. Um, Wing Chun is by Sifu Z is a sustainable form of fitness and a practical form of self-defense. That is what we do with our Wing Chun. All right. Yeah, that's great. Our Justin used to do MMA, and he trains with us now. Um, it's interesting in MMA. It's mixed martial arts, right? So you see all all different styles. You see your taekwondo, your boxing, your Wing Chun. You see your jujitsu. You see your wrestling. You see your sambo, right? Muay Thai, all of it. Um, yeah, it's all over the place. But yeah, doing MMA is good. Hopefully you have good training partners that won't give you a concussion and see red and kind of put you out of commission when you don't want to be. That's kind of a we've had people that have come and trained with us before that experienced that, and they just essentially didn't want to have brain damage too early in their life or too late in their life, even more so. Did some Wing Chun stuff in the early days, but you don't see it as much anymore. Good training partners. Had sprained my knee wrestling a few weeks ago. Yeah, I know. Yeah, gotta be careful. Wrestling's pretty dynamic too. Because there's certain techniques that aren't readily available to you because of sport. You know, so you're kind of forced to hunker down in some ways, right? You're trying to accomplish a specific thing in it, pin them down. So just like in MMA and whatnot. But um, anyways, I'm gonna see here if he's messaged me.
Probably at about 8,000 years. Huh.
For like I don't know, like 5 solid minutes.
I don't know if I was gone or if you were gone because I've been
Really?
talking to somebody. I've been talking to Austin here this whole time.
Wow, me too.
Hold on.
Austin, were you hearing both of us at the same time talking?
What in the world?
Yeah,
Okay.
you were blank on my or anything, and I was like, well, I guess
Because
I guess
I don't see any of your. Oh, you were talking to him.
yeah, I was speaking to him, and but yeah, he was. But I mean, we were probably saying similar things.
That's nutty. That's going to be interesting to see how this video comes out.
I know,
Um,
both talking at the same time. Yeah, I don't know what you went over with MMA, but it is mixed martial arts, right? Everything's in it, and and then what are we talking about? Oh, injury. Yeah,
yeah.
because the right sustainable form of fitness, practical form of self defense, right? And
Oh man, you you're awesome, bro. You're awesome. Because that is the short answer. I was going to stretch it out to like, an hour's answer, a 1 hour answer. And you just kind of like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a sustainable method of
method.
fitness and a practical method of self defense. But
Yeah,
that's what our Wing Chun is,
indeed.
you know? That really that's got to be our handle, quite honestly.
Yeah,
Um, what I was going to answer was what is Wing Chun to the general public? How does everyone look at Wing Chun, or, what's the general consensus? I'd say the general consensus is Wing Chun is bullshit.
yeah. I think there's a majority of people that don't understand its application. Um, and that's kind of a big part. But it's interesting because you'll see a lot of real high level fighters and coaches and trainers utilizing Wing Chun in their techniques. There's this one guy, I forget who he was, but man, he utilizes the postures so heavily, and he admits to it too. He's like, "Yeah, dude, this is Tonsao, right?"
No, good.
And when we're in here and we're doing this wrestling thing, we're in this dynamic sort of chi sao where I'm feeling your arms and we're feeling the position, we're pummeling or whatever it might be. Yada yada. So yeah, I guess it depends on who you talk to, and who's experienced, you know, what type of Wing Chun or whose type of Wing Chun, I should say, perhaps.
That's right. Wing Chun hasn't, they speculate Wing Chun is about 400 years old. I speculate Wing Chun not as Wing Chun, but Wing Chun as a physical study, as a martial art, so to speak. I theorize it's been around maybe 8,000 years.
Mm.
So when you say what is something that has been around for 8,000 years, it's a lot like, saying, what are all Americans like? Or what are all Chinese like? Or what are all Japanese like? I mean, Wing Chun has been around for a long time. So to honestly say what Wing Chun is, we could only say what our Wing Chun is, which may be much different than how a lot of other people take Wing Chun. Wing Chun can be a cultural practice, which you go to Chinatown, you go to any Wing Chun school near Chinatown, it's a cultural thing. It can also be a community thing, kind of almost like a church. It's kind of how I like to. I'd like to develop our Wing Chun more as a community thing, where people can, and not necessarily learn martial arts, but learn a method of fitness, right?
Right.
Um,
In a way, it's a real what's the word? It's a lifestyle. Yeah, yeah, lifestyle.
yeah, a lifestyle thing. Now, there's also, like like a lot of traditional martial arts specifically, it could be for entertainment, for culture, for sport, or for self defense. I think those are the four categories of most like what martial arts claim to be. Here's something I would rather talk a little about what MMA is, because your understanding of MMA, you may be trying to translate your understanding of mixed martial arts. to a more traditional martial art such as Wing Chun. It's weird calling Wing Chun a traditional martial art because it's only recently been admitted by the Chinese that it's a martial art. It's a Chinese martial art. I remember when I was in China and we were all Wing Chun guys from all over the world there, but I could tell that the Chinese people were looking at us like, what are they doing? They understand like, all the kung fu forms and all that, but they looked at us and like kind of laughing even, you know. So when I went to China, Wing Chun, as far as I know, was very sort of, you know, underground ish,
Right.
you know. Now I think they pretty much jumped on the ball. They're like, yeah, Wing Chun, that's us. Yeah, here's the movie, It Man. you know, they jumped on that. They go, okay, it's ours. Yep, it's ours. Um, and Asians, and again, I'm using the term Asians so damn loosely here, but Asians use martial arts almost like a cultural thing, like like football. It's just like a thing that we've been raised with.
Yeah.
A lot of us, a lot of
In the
us.
yard, in the fields, practicing horse stance all day with that hoe. You know.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right. Wrestling with their oxen and stuff.
With the rice sickle, the sickle that right.
Yeah,
It it's crazy just how much of it just goes into the body mechanics of everyday life, and
everything. Yeah, and getting back to Austin's question and answering Austin's question, which, by the way, Sifu Chad really answered properly for you there. But let me add that Wing Chun is essentially, and I think a lot of schools would agree, is a tool. It's a tool. And one of the things I said earlier was that if you can tell it's Wing Chun, it's probably not very good Wing Chun. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. Um, but Wing Chun, as we perform it, is the ideal. No one lives an ideal. No,
no.
not unless they're really weak and stupid, and then you could stand there in your posture and go whoop 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 whoop. I mean,
Right.
but you only do that with people that don't know how to fight. So and that becomes a problem over time when people come to learn Wing Chun, and the instructors and the students are just doing like what looks like Wing Chun, but they're calling it like fighting or sparring. It's not even close. Wing Chun Chi Sao is not even close to fighting or sparring. So, Wing Chun is a tool that you practice the ideal of the body mechanics, the postures, the movements, right? You practice those ideals just like well, let's just say you were practicing posture. You wanted to be a model and you wanted to practice postures, right? Well, one of the things you would do, and I'm just coming up with this top of my head. You would put some books on your head and you would walk around with the books on your head and you would say the rain in Spain falls mostly on the plain, right? You would say yeah, that's something you would do, right? However, when it came time to model, you would not have the books on your head walking around like this, and you would not be saying the rain in Spain falls mostly on the plain. You wouldn't do that. Am I making sense here regarding what Wing Chun looks like and then what Wing Chun looks like when it's being used in the real world?
Yeah. That's a
So,
decent analogy. Decent analogy.
hey, I love when good analogies come. And there's the sun. Oh yes, the sun. I can take. I got like two jackets on. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's getting kind of chilly, man. Getting
uh,
chilly.
so I have to hand it. I have to forgive the world for not really understanding Wing Chun, because Wing Chun practitioners are probably the worst in kind of, and it's hard. It's not easy. This is not easy. I'm not saying that Wing Chun guys in general suck and they don't know. I'm saying that it's hard to explain this, and why. Why is it so hard to explain? Why is it so hard these days to explain what Wing Chun is? Sifu Chad, do you perhaps know the reason that I'm about to pontificate on?
Or I might just completely just like blow it hard.
um
I can't quite read minds yet with my Wing Chun, but
no. A lot here in conversation, a lot to me, the best conversations are the ones where you're in the realm where you're almost finishing the sentence, right? But you don't. That would be rude.
I think
Unless, of course, the old man forgot what the hell he was saying, and then you go, yes, you were talking about this. We're going from A to B to C. Okay.
well, okay, I'll attempt this answer. You know, because what was the question one more time, just so I
Yeah,
can.
how come people are so why is it so difficult for people to understand Wing Chun these days? Why would that be? What thing is there these days that would really confuse the issue as to what martial arts is, specifically Wing Chun?
I I think the confusion happens when sport is far more glorified in the sense of fighting and martial arts than say, the self defense aspect of you're actually defending your life right now.
Excellent. Now listen, you came up with the short answer when I had the long answer. Well, now we just switch polarities. I have the long answer. You have the long answer. I have the short answer. The
Nice.
short answer, and they're both correct. They're both correct. But the short answer is three letters. Austin, maybe you know it. MMA. I call it mixed up martial arts. It's mixed up. It's got everybody mixed up in the
Muma.
head as to what martial arts actually is. See, now martial arts is when you get into a fancy little cage and you have a referee and you have like a huge audience, thousands of people. You've got whole teams training one person. You've got massive marketing and all this stuff. So what you're saying is, and it's very true, is people have taken the sport and confused it for reality.
Right.
And they're doing so because mixed martial arts, mixed martial artists in general, especially these days, are fabulous athletes. Fabulous.
Yeah.
They are great athletes. And so there's this mistaken identity that because you're athletic and that you're able to win in a particular sport, that translates into real self-defense. Now it could. I mean, if you're a good fighter and the guy on the street isn't quite as good. You know, I mean, it might work as a self-defense, but quite honestly, they're two different worlds. Sport fighting, entertainment essentially, entertainment essentially is not the same as self-defense. Not even close.
Yeah.
In self-defense, you do things like run away. In self-defense, you do things um like use trickery to a great degree. Donkey kick, my favorite. Listen, I get into fights, real fights. I don't look like I'm doing Wing Chun when I'm out there doing real fighting. you know, it's always different. It's always a very unique thing. I'm not gonna stand there and go, oh, come, come. See, that's movies. That's entertainment, right? A great example is this. Everyone, the whole world is pretty much run by Hollywood. Hollywood has created, this mess that we kind of have right now.
Boycott campaign.
And this thing that happened at Wing Chun is the same thing that's happening to all things, and that is they get Hollywoodized. So instead of the real person, you got the Hollywood version, and that's the one that gets pushed, promoted. That's the one that gets paid,
You get
right?
you get the actor or the
Yes, yes. And so people are really, really not understanding things because of the Hollywood version. MMA, Hollywood, bro. Total Hollywood, man. You know, are these guys, look at a lot of the MMA, UFC superstars. Well, first of all, I know two MMA guys that, well, one ate the other one. Okay. It was cannibalism. Just look it up. Yeah. It happened in Humboldt. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. I
so
know some martial artists, some black belts, jujitsu players. Early on, went to jail for raping the students. Let me see. Or let me get. They get a really bad idea of what and what allows that MMA. You put these people up on a pedestal that they don't belong on. You know, martial artists, kung fu guys, whatever, Sifu's, they're held to a higher standard. So just because a guy knows how to beat somebody's ass doesn't mean he's allowed to go out, get drunk, beat his wife, rape people. That's not a martial artist, my friend.
no, it's not.
And some of the best. Look, John Jones. I don't know. I'm not going to try to remember all the names, but
That
there's a
I
lot of them. There's a lot of them, and they've got horrible records as human beings, let alone martial artists,
yeah.
right? So I appreciate MMA on one hand, and I completely despise it on another. I like it on one hand because martial arts kind of seem like it was dying, or it seemed like it was dying. And so when it first came out, I'm like, oh, cool. Everybody's going to get into martial arts. Right. And indeed, it worked out for me in the beginning. But then they started really narrowing it down. No, no, no. MMA is its own thing, which indeed it is. And MMA doesn't really use Wing Chun or Aikido or uh, and they really struggled to narrow it down to like, oh, MMA is Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu. That's what MMA is. now to the point where it's just MMA. And again, I say it's mixed up martial arts. Uh,
Mm.
it really. So I'm not shitting on MMA entirely, right? I think MMA um, helped to have a growing interest in martial arts, which I think is important because if people are insecure and they feel threatened and they feel like they don't have the security they need, what do they do? What are they going to do? They're going to go out and get a gun. Let me get a gun and then not train in the gun. I mean, it's crazy. I don't have anything against guns, but I do have a huge thing against people that own guns and don't train with the damn things.
Yeah.
You got to train. And then if you own a gun, you better be on your best behavior and kiss balls and ass all day. Because if you if you get into an altercation and you got a gun on you, oh shit, and you're brown, big trouble, bitch. You're in big trouble. So going out and I thought it was great that more and more people were getting into MMA. Now here's an interesting thing. Some of the huge MMA guys, Rogan and what's that guy's name? Well, some guy, he's getting a lot of attention these days. Strickland, Sean Strickland, I think his name is, and a bunch of other MMA guys. A tip of the hand. They sure are into firearms.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? But I had a friend of mine. He says, you know, you're into guns. How come you don't carry guns around? How come you? I'm like, I'm a martial artist. I have on many occasions more than I should be able to account for. I've had more than one or two or five. No, okay, again, I'm not exactly sure how many. Where they had a gun, they pulled the gun on me, and the best way to deal with it was with my hands, with my brain and my hands. Pulling out another gun in fear that I was going to get shot would have been fatal. I remember one time I got attacked. I was actually in New York City. I had a gun on me. Back in the 80s, I used to carry because I didn't do Wing Chun back then. I did martial arts, but not Wing Chun. And so in the 80s, I used to carry. And I got jumped in New York. Nothing I could do. I couldn't pull out a gun. What am I going to do? Pull out a gun and shoot him and the other people? That a bullet's not going to just shoot the one person, right? Especially multiple rounds. And this was a big guy too, man. This big black guy just decided that he wanted me dead. I have no idea why. It was just some crazy thing. So, and that's been more than once. I mean, I'm just gonna say every time, more times than this hand. That's for sure. I don't know if it's been this many times, but more than this many times, I've had guns pulled on me. Not once have I been able to, like, pull my gun out and save the day. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. And so this friend of mine said, well, he had actually seen a guy was trying in San Francisco. A guy was trying to beat him up, and he was going around just bashing people. It was part of this gang that came into a club and just started, bashing people. So this friend of mine ran up to me and said, "You got to help me! This got to help me! This guy, he's going to try to kill me!" Right? As he was saying this, the guy runs up on him, punches him in the face. Right? I immediately get on the guy and I take care of the situation. So he got to see that. He got to see that. There's a few people in my life that got to see me do what I do in real time. And and he said, "Well, you're one of the only people I know that could walk around without a gun and, be, in like a bad neighborhood without a gun." He says, "I've seen it." Yeah. But he's a real gun nut too, and whatnot. I'm like, man,
Yeah, put it on
so
the you.
stay again.
I just the housekeeping was knocking on my door.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. So, what is Wing Chun? Wing Chun, our Wing Chun, as Sifu Chad said, is a sustainable method of fitness and a practical method of self defense. It's the only one. It's the only one. And it's okay. It's okay. Wing Chun is actually pretty, 400 years for a martial art is very young. Okay. I mean, we're not talking Krav Maga here or any of that, nonsense. What we're talking about here is martial arts. As far as martial arts go, Wing Chun is the youngest of the group. And what I like to say is Wing Chun is the synthesis of everything that came before it, everything that worked, right? I also like to point out that the concept of Wing Chun sort of came out the same time as the handgun. And just like there is a choice in should we do e commerce or should we do virtual reality, there's that thing uh, in Wing Chun, that same decision making in Wing Chun. Do I get a gun or do I turn myself into the gun? Because Wing Chun, the mechanics of Wing Chun mimic the mechanics of a firearm, right? You're not going to get a good center line strike in without being on aim. You have to have your grounding, or else the punch will be meaningless, right? There, the gun and Wing Chun work really well together as far as concepts because they're the same concepts. One's a mechanical version, one's a physiological version, but all the same thing, all the same concept. So, however, the gun you could just buy, right? And get this false sense that you're able to fight. Let me say it this way, too. A guy that he's a world class grappling instructor, one of the best grapplers I've ever experienced. Me, I'm all right as far as a grappler. Yeah, I'm okay. I had my day. I had my chance, to excel in that direction. But I just went to know, just learn enough. Now here I am, many years later, and I see this guy, and he tells me about a story with Cornelius. No, shoots, he's a real famous, a world uh, champion grappler. Shit, what the hell's his name? He's out of Sacramento and world class. I mean, I'm not even close to that level of grappling. Understand this. I'm not that good of a grappler. I'm okay. You know, for self defense, I'm excellent. As far as a sports grappler, nah, no. He gave me one of the greatest compliments I think I'd ever. I never expected from this guy because he doesn't throw compliments. Quite to the contrary. And he said, I was just hanging out with that world champion grappler. And I got to be honest, if I were to ever get into a street fight, I'd rather have you than him. That warmed my heart so much. And he's not a nice guy. He didn't have anything nice to say after that. You know? But it was the one compliment that I'm like, wow, bro. Yeah, I didn't even say thank you. I'm just like, wow, okay. And I think that speaks volumes because yes, if you can't translate your sport into self-defense. Sport has parameters, you know? Sport has rules. There are so many things you can do in MMA that will just, stop the whole thing. You can't do groin kicks. You can't do throat strikes. You can't do eye
Mm.
gouges. You can't even do small muscle manipulation. You
You
know,
can't kick them while they're down.
Here's one of my favorites. If you get your, if you get a whole, like somebody grabs you, all you have to do, you're not allowed to do this in MMA, but all you have to do is press right here. And you see the white part of your nail, that little white area of the nail there. All you have to do is just press into there. Yeah, just press. No one does not feel that pain. That pain is a very, very acute pain. It's but there's all kinds of small muscle manipulations that you can do. You can't do them in MMA. And you better do them in a self-defense scenario where somebody has you, they're holding you down, they're doing, you got to do all the things. In fact, everything you do in self-defense is not what you would do in MMA. Now, if you're going to when you get into a fight, you're not going to do what's up here. You're going to do what your training dictates. So your training is going to dictate your behavior, not your brain, not there's an old saying in a real fight, the training is out the door. You don't think of your training in a real fight. You think of what's going on. How can we end this quickly in my
Mhm.
favor? Right. And so MMA has done a great disservice to one of the greatest martial arts no, not one, the greatest martial art on the planet. The greatest martial art on the planet has done a great disservice, has done less of a service than an actual service. Because on one hand, so the dumb guys in the beginning was like, all right, yeah, all right, people are getting more into martial arts. That's great. That's good for me. It's good for business. Oh, they want that everybody wants to be an MMA superstar. Come on, man.
They want to wear the glove.
Yeah, let me explain something to you when it comes to Hollywood, right? Hollywood, which MMA, it's all part of that. The whole Hollywood mafia, it's all connected. It's all interconnected, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, man. Anyway, I lost my train of thought there. I think I've talked enough about
Hollywood.
in this subject. Is there anything that you can add to this?
Um, Not right now. No.
Okay.
I think I've added previously to. So I think we're settling on this train.
Okay. So, unfortunately, we don't have anybody else in the comments, kind of prodding us to, or questioning our answers. That's unfortunate. Perhaps anyone out there, seeing the archive of this would like to continue the conversation in the comments below. Um, I think this is, well, you know me. I think Wing Chun is the answer to our humanity. I really put a lot on the shoulders of Wing Chun.
Yo, one thing that that Wing Chun taught me, and maybe this was just like a realization later on after I've kind of realized that, like, oh wow, I can really hurt somebody, like, really badly, you know? Um, it switches you to this because I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to hurt anything. I don't even want to kill the fish for dinner. Darn it, you know.
Yep.
But so what I'm trying to say is, once you really know what your responsibility entails as a Wing Chun man, you really know also how to not hurt people. You know, you really know how to hurt people, but then knowing that teaches you how to not hurt people. And I think that's a real important thing that I've learned in this Wing Chun lifestyle.
Journey. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. You were, you were responding so properly. I wanted to interrupt you. I wanted to finish your sentence. That was so good. That was so good, bro. I've always said, man, if you don't want to fight people, then learn how to fight.
Right.
Because fighting happens when you are unsure, when you don't know.
Yeah.
That I mean, that literally is when struggle happens.
When you
Struggle
can't
happens when you
person,
don't know,
yeah, you can't read the person you don't know. You can't read yourself even. You
and you're
can't.
afraid. You're afraid. You're like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to fight. Okay, okay, and then you want to change into this whole other person that you are not, and this person that you're not gets his ass kicked because you're not that person, man. Yeah, if you, that's one of the things that really bothers me about people that like to open and run their mouth, but they don't know how to fight.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man, learn how to fight. And then maybe your words will be more respectful because you won't be so, I think a lot of people also they want to pick on people that to make them feel better. So, a bigger person, stronger person picks on a weaker person. So I really think we have like such a bully culture, a bullshit bully culture. In Hawaii, there's a bully culture, but those motherfuckers actually fight. They don't bust out guns and weapons. They're like, oh, bro, let's go. You
Oh, crap.
know?
Crap. You like kimchi. You like beef stew.
No, I haven't been in Hawaii for a long time. You just came back. I don't know if it's still like that. Maybe when I left Hawaii, somebody got shot right in front of me within earshot, right there on Hotel Street. So I think Hawaii is probably transitioning to a gun culture as well. But my guess is that the fighting culture is still more prevalent, is my guess.
Yeah, there's still a prevalent fighting culture out there because everybody's got to support Holloway, the Hawaii boy.
Yeah.
Even though he did just get knocked out for the first time by that by the Spaniard, by a Spaniard or Italian. There's a guy, Ilia Topuria, and
Oh
he's
boy.
really nice boxing. I actually clipped a sequence that was a very nice Fuke Sao to a straight cross, and it was like, wow,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You can know this shit, but not train in it,
Right.
and so that's I think that's an important thing too in martial arts, Wing Chun. Um, like for instance, if you're a grappler, you're probably a very few percentage of people are going to continue grappling beyond their like 50s, let's say, right?
Yeah. That's when you become
Very
coach.
few. Yeah. Whereas Wing Chun, man, you can do that to the grave.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to be a competitor? Well, fuck off. Fuck off. You know,
Wait.
if you're out trying to beat up older tthan 50-year-old men, guess what? You deserve to be shot. You just deserve to be shot. That's all there is to it. You know, I'm in a situation right now where I might have to deal with something. And last year I had to deal with this individual. This time around, he's going to get severely injured if he comes anywhere near me. And there's going to be a smile on my face the whole time, you know? And so that's Wing Chun. That's Wing Chun when you're going, man, that guy can fucking hurt me. I'm going to have to put him out. You know, it's not like, oh, I better run away. Not necessarily. I mean, it's always best to walk away, run away, whatever. It's always best to get out, of course. But if you're stuck in a corner or they're faster than you and can chase you down, all right. Well, then, yeah, it's going to be rather unfortunate for that individual. Yeah, there's an old saying, Sun Tzu, and we'll cut this off. There's an old saying, Sun Tzu, always give your opponent an out. Always give your opponent an exit.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's an
familiar.
old Sun Tzu, and that's the thing. When you are dealing in a self defense situation and you've trained in a self defense, you know, not in sport, in self defense, yeah, if you don't give that individual an exit point, then they're just going to do what they got to do to survive. And guess what? You're probably not trying to kill me, but you're probably trying to hurt me or to control me. And that will be the end of your life, not mine. You know? So to answer Austin's question, he's probably not even here. Yeah, that's what Wing Chun is. Wing Chun is a wonderful tool. Our Wing Chun. What is Wing Chun to us? It's a wonderful tool to defend yourself in a practical manner and to exercise in a sustainable manner. There you go. There you go. We got the long answer and the short answer. You're welcome, person that's probably not even there anymore. Although they might have left because of our connection. We had a weird connection thing. It's going to be very interesting to see how this video archives. But I thank you, Sifu Chad. I thank you for this conversation. I
Thank
think
you.
it was a good conversation. I think it was worth putting off physical training to get some mental training to hopefully, if the archive it works, that more people will have a better understanding of this valuable Wing Chun. It is the jewel of China, says Chris Chan, Grandmaster Chris Chan. The jewel of China. It's the best. Think of all the things we get from China. Like everything, okay? Everything we get from China. Everything we get from China. If you have a thing now, it's because you got the one from China first. Nowadays, it's even made in China, but they don't need to stamp it made in China anymore because they assemble it here or there or wherever. You know, they put down where the assemblage is. Okay. Shit, what the hell was I saying?
We were and we were talking about the answer that we answered to Austin, who may not be here anymore. Uh, yeah, yeah.
uh,
That was,
your mind reading skills aren't working very well. That's
I don't have a lot of practice these days.
uh, but Wing Chun is to me and being a Buckminster Fuller fan, um, being sort of a very empathetic individual, to me, Wing Chun is the physical path to our humanity. Um, I know that's a huge claim to make, but I have never faltered in explaining that to anyone that w- wanted to, really explain. I've never had a problem explaining. And I've never had anyone say, bullshit, you're out of your mind. Never. When you show them the relationship to posture, to structure, to center, to balance, all that stuff that is very much a high level human
It
thinking
gives
and
you
behavior.
the center of your mind. I.
Um,
No.
yeah, man. Wing Chun is, and to answer even more profoundly, Wing Chun is the path to our humanity. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Yeah, Mike Trout. I know. In other words, shut the fuck. You're done. Shut up.
Quick, mute it before he drops it. Otherwise, we're all gonna get burned.
He'll pick the damn thing up again. A whole nother hour. All
Yeah.
right. Listen,
So
if you haven't done so already, give us a subscribe. Yeah, you can like, comment, share, and all that. But really, what we need here is for you to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so we get all the perks that YouTube has to offer. So, yeah, go ahead and do that. Uh, Also, do yourself a favor and subscribe to Sifu Chad's channel. It's Chad Ventures over on YouTube. So by all means, go subscribe over to his channel. It's not martial arts. His channel is all about like rocks and just cool stuff. You gotta go check it out. And this is brought to you by SifuZ.com. If you're in Europe, Sifu Z. I don't like that at all. Yeah. But Sifu Z, that's SIFUZ. All one word, SifuZ.com. If we didn't do a private 50-50. This is a public transmission here. However, we have a lot of training available over on patreon.com/cfuz. That one is spelled capital S, lowercase ifu, uppercase Z, all one word, patreon.com/cfuz. Pick any tier, and then you can join us in our private streams. All tiers over on Patreon get access to the private streams. And gee whiz, by golly, that's it. It's time to start the day. And I appreciate you spending your time with us this morning. Again, thank you, Sifu Chad. Yeah, I mean, to step up to the plate after you've been traveling the world, and I mean, your arms from flying must be absolutely exhausted.
they really
Um,
are. I, I think I need a rotator cuff surgery.
yeah, you and me both. Um, and yeah, let's just do this right here and now. Next Friday, let's do this again next Friday at 10:30. Hold on,
10:30,
8:30, no, 9:30. Does
9:30,
that sound good for you?
9:30 your time, 10:30 my time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll see you again next week, Friday, 9:30 California time. And again, this 50-50 ritual, half of our training, we open up to all of you guys at no cost. Again, this is sponsored by SifuZ.com. And if you want to join the private, you just go on over to patreon.com/SifuZ. All right. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next Friday. And heck, I'll probably see you a little earlier. I'm going to do a Zeker stream, and I know I haven't gotten to the music stream, and I also need to talk with you privately regarding giving you access to my YouTube channel. We need to talk about that
Okay.
so we can get her done.
Yeah.
All right. Have anything to say in closing?
I love you all.
Oh,
So
that's beautiful. I don't love you all, but I do love Sifu Chad, and by proxy, I love you. How's that? All right, guys. I'll see you soon, and be good.